mpaka tuko na keti. Haya. Yeah. Kanisa yetu ya PCA Mwiki, Bwana Yesu asifiwe. Hebu tuone salamu kwa yeye. Bwana Yesu asifiwe. Kwanza kabisa, mimi vile nimeambiwa, majina yangu ni Senator Cleophas Malala kutoka kule Kakamega, kule Ingo. Mimi ndio nimekuwa katibu mkuu wa chama cha UDA. Lakini tulitoka huko, sasa hivi tuko kwa safari nyingine. Na mimi leo nimekuja hapa kumsindikiza kiongozi wangu, naibu rais wa pili wa Jamhuri ya Kenya, Mheshimiwa Rigathi Gachagua. Na vile nimefika hapa, nimeona mambo ya ajabu. Rare instances. Nimeona mambo sijaiona kwa maisha yangu. Ati kwamba tuko na viongozi ambao wanaweza tuma vijana kupiga watu, kupiga wale ambao wanaabudu Mwenyezi Mungu. Mimi nimeshangaa na nimesema tu kwamba tumwachie Mwenyezi Mungu hiyo vita. Sisi hatuwezi ingilia kati ya hiyo vita. Na mimi nakumbuka vizuri sana wakati Mheshimiwa Rigathi Gachagua alikuwa anang'atuliwa kama naibu rais. Tulikuwa na nguvu yote ya kufanya maandamano, ya kuchoma mali za watu, ya kupiga watu. Lakini kiongozi wetu alituambia, hata kama wanamtoa, tafadhali tunataka amani. Hivi majuzi, rais amekuwa Mlima Kenya karibu siku 7. Mheshimiwa Rigathi Gachagua akasema anataka amani. Uongozi utoka kwa Mwenyezi Mungu. Mnaweza patia watu pombe, mnaweza patia watu pesa, mnaweza tumia polisi, lakini uongozi utoka kwa Mwenyezi Mungu. So tafadhali, Rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya, wewe leo ndio umepatia vijana pesa kupitia Sakaja, na ukaambia DIG I withdraw security. Na nia yao haikuwa kuharibu madhabahu. Walikuwa wametuma mpaka tuko na watu ambao wako na bunduki, walikuwa wametuma waje mpaka hapa wamtoe Rigathi Gachagua akiwa madhabahu, ati wambebe juu na juu. Sisi tungependa kuambia hao vijana kwamba ni sawa. You have intimidated Rigathi enough times. Mlimtoa kwa kiti yake akanyamaza. Akaenda nyumbani, mkamfuata nyumbani. Mkachukua askari wake, mkaenda kwa familia yake. Akienda matanga, mnampiga kule. Ameamua kunyamaza, ameamua kufanya mambo yake. Leo amekuomba Mwenyezi Mungu, tena mnamfuata. That is inhuman of you, Mr. President. Mimi nakuomba rais, kumbuka mahali ulitoka na huyu Rigathi Gachagua. Watu uko sana, watu tofautiana kimawazo, lakini usiwe na hiyo roho ya kutaka kumaliza mwenzako mpaka kaburini. But we want to assure you,
yes. This is one of the beautiful Tuesday evening, East African time. Of course, we are here for the political discussion, and you know that when you see that signal, you know it's time for politics in this one of the best YouTube channels that we have in East Africa. You join us in the comment section. Of course, we are going to pioneer today's show for the next few hours as we discuss some of the top stories that we have in this country. But you know, the previous link that we have played over there is one of the former Kakamega, of course, Senator Cleophas Malala, when he was addressing after the issue, after the saga that happened in Mwiki, whereby they were attacked by the goons, of which they allegedly said that it's of the leaders who sent the goons to come and attack them. Welcome. Of course, if you're joining for the first time, remember this is your #1 channel. If you are following us from Facebook, make sure you subscribe to Africa 24 here. That is where you get a lot of news from day and night, because we are always updated. Make sure you tune through the link that I've shared there. I have shared the link. You can join the studio. I can see we are almost 500 people joining the conversation. Make sure you join through the link, and I will welcome you to the show. Then you will also be one of us here. I have seen we have Saito of yes, join us in the studio. You can also be part of this studio, us, and you will be welcome to form part in this conversation. But now the topics that we are having today is the James Orengo resignation saga that is happening. Of course, we have seen in Siaya County, of course, what is happening after James Orengo, of course, is the senator, is the governor of Siaya, whereby he has been facing critics after what he said during the burial ceremony of the former guard of Raila Odinga. Now we have the broad-based government that is in power. We have broad-based that is formed by Raila Odinga, and also the top cabinet secretary that formed from the ODM, and now we have the broad-based government. Of course, the president is saying that everyone is ready to join the government. So there's a lot of space, and no one is expected to leave so that you can get a position for someone. So join us here, and we will be ready to give you the position to give your views to the other Kenyans who are joining this wonderful conversation. And also make sure, as you follow the conversation, you also subscribe to 24. That is the channel Africa 24. Daily political discussion happens here every 10 p.m. East African time. In the comment section, I can see you have Gipsy Kona, Amani. I've also seen Coril, Robert. Coril, the link. You just click the link, and then you'll be part of it, and you'll be forming this great conversation here. And I've been, hey, I'm a talker. I wanted to give him a position to speak, but also I know he will be back to this wonderful conversation. We have also seen the current situation whereby we are having reshuffling any day and night. We've also seen some of the young members of the government. We've seen permanent secretaries joining the government. Also, we have seen many people joining the government. I've seen the comment section there, and the Corinne Robert is saying that Raila is still commanding. Yes, of course, we shall be having all those. And you can join through the link. You click the link, and then you will become one of these wonderful conversation here in the studio, whereby you'll be the guest tonight to discuss some of the political discussion that is happening in the country. Of course, you know, we are approaching whereby we are going to see the Gen Z movement now getting into the politics, and of course they are now saying they are going to vote. We have seen several people saying that they have not participated in the last general elections because of negligence. We can also call it being bold of getting to choose leaders, but now we are having everyone already for 2027. So it's going to be a different election, but we are going to expect a lot of youth, Gen Z, registering as voters in this country as they push for the new president. Of course, several people, several leaders, they have said that it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy, of course, because we do not have had any president serving for the first time. You know, the race for the presidential seat is still at the top thing that we have in this country. We have seen several candidates, the likes of Matiang'i, the likes of Mark Karua. We saw yesterday saying that she's ready for 2027. And also this country, maybe she said that the country maybe deserves someone who can change the current situation. We also have seen, we know that Ajakoya will also in the ballot. We also know that Raila Odinga, the is that he might also step aside and join the 2027. Also, we had Babu Wino, the member of parliament of Mbakazi, saying that it's going to be tough. It's going down. They might form that political party together with Didi Nyoro, and also they come out as a presidential aspirant in 2027. It's going to be hot. It's going to be tough for 2027 for leaders who are going to campaign for a presidential seat. Also, we have seen critics since the 2022 general elections. We have seen how members have criticized. You know, a lot of people. I was following the conversation in X platform, and so some of the youth were saying that they really regret what happened during the 2022, because they were saying that they have a lot of trust, but now it's a vice versa. James Minor, I can see in the comment section, Luos were you saying that in the comment section, I can see James Minor saying that Luos were not born just to be backing in opposition, but they can also be in the government. That is what he is saying. He is saying that Luos cannot be always be forming part of the opposition, but also they can be in the government. James Minor, I want you to join the studio and also tell us how you think. Why do you see this? Because we need to also discuss about Luos generally, because they have been in opposition for a long time, but now they are in the government. James Minor, you can also join the studio. You click the link there, the link that I've shared there, and also you will be forming part of this a wonderful conversation in Africa 24. And we'll also be giving you this platform to also talk to other Kenyans directly. I think that Luos, they are not created to be in opposition. Yes, of course. Everyone. I was also following what my good friend, of course, is my good friend. What he was saying. That is Junet Mohammed. He was saying that they were not always meant to be in the position. Be sure credit. Karibu sana to Africa 24. And of course, you give us your view about what is happening. What do you think? We are having a James Orengo resignation that is happening after the comments that he made in Oduor bio ceremony that was held in western part. What is your take? Do you think that Orengo is criticizing the broad-based government, or he is speaking on behalf of someone? Pishoni, are you there? Are you still there? I cannot hear you. Maybe you adjust your volume and then you come back. Of course, you just adjust. Your mic is on. You can speak. Shina, are you still there? Credit, or you just came to listen? Of course, I know you will adjust your mic, and then you will be Wycliffe Goya. Karibu sana. Join the studio. Join the studio through the link that I've shared there, and you'll be forming part of this great conversation here in Africa 24. Also, you also talk directly to Kenyans. Talk direct to Kenyans and tell them what you think about the saga that is happening. Is James Orengo speaking on behalf of someone, or this is something that is being cooked for 2027? Because you know the direction in which Kenya is taking is that 2027 we are going to get elections that is totally different from what we've experienced in 2022, that is 2017 and 2013, and also 2007. It's going to be a hot one. That is something that because we are going to expect a lot of things. Bishon, can you speak? Are you able to speak? So I think we have a problem with the mic, but I'm sure that you will make a direction. Mike Maweu, I think that conman. I don't know who you calling conman, but also Mike, you can join the studio. I've shared the link. Join the studio, and we interact here with other Kenyans who are following this conversation here live. We're having a lot of Kenyans following this conversation. And also we are having Bondo is saying that which Bondo? I've been in Bondo for 4 days now and it's very peaceful. Yes, we know that it's peaceful, but these are some of the allegations that we are seeing that the comments that the governor made are raising a lot of concerns. It's like speaking on behalf of someone, or we having the drive for 2027. Ahmed Mukhtar is saying that Raila is still the boss of Nyanza. Yes, he's saying that Raila Odinga is still the boss of Nyanza. Also, Corrine Robert is saying that Raila is still commanding Luo Nyanza force. That is fact. Yes, Raila, of course, even after joining the broad-based government, we are seeing a lot of changes. We have seen today there were some of the appointments that were made by the president. But Kenyans, when you follow some of the comments from Kenyans, they are saying that maybe the broad-based government was just formed to favor some region, and also other regions will also be neglected, because we have seen how things are adding up when it comes to the broad-based government which was formed. So join us through the studio link, and you'll be forming part of this conversation. We're discussing on the future of 2027 and also the future of Kenyan politics. We also saw the president of the Republic of Kenya heading to China, so that the relationship between China and also Kenya can be boosted by a lot of things that are going to be discussed, and also how the direction of economy is going to take, because we are having economy being shaky, since it's said that the inheritance, of course, the government that took power in 2022, it's like the economy they inherited was not in good condition. Or now they're trying to stabilize. But now, also Mountain is still looking for the kingpin. Gachagua still is the kingpin, the way they say, after the impeachment motion, and now he is out here. Always he has been saying that his main work is to inject, is to make sure that the government is going to perform. And also we have seen how critics are rising every day after the impeachment of Gachagua last year, members from the region. But there is something that happened during the presidential tour in the central region. One of the closest friends of Gachagua, that is the governor of Nyeri, he made a very sensitive remark on 2027. He said that if the president is going to do what they have agreed, then they are going to vote for him. Something that is controversial to what people should expect, because he's the governor where Gachagua comes from.
Having said that, ladies and gentlemen, we have had a guest last week. And if I do not stand here and thank all of you for heeding to my call, when I made a call to all of us as the county of Nyeri, the populace and the people who rightfully have a right to riot because it is their son that was impeached. But I said, and I called upon all of you, went to the radios and said, leadership comes from God. We participated in putting our president in State House. We voted. We must respect that. And we must respect the presidency. We must work with him now, because we rightfully deserve any development that was set aside from the 3 trillion of this year for Nyeri must come. But I knew that will not come if we are throwing stones. Ours is to be patient, to listen, to receive. Even now, as you go out, you are going to meet with a number.
Yes. I've seen Jared, of course, he has joined us. Jared has joined us also. I have seen mzee mwenyewe Leo Nyambaya. Hey, for a long time I've not seen Leo. Leo, today we have a lot of viewers who are following this great conversation, Bwana. And you are pro-government.
Yes. How are you?
So I
Everybody's
want
good.
you also to greet our viewers and also tell us where you are lost and what you have been doing, of course, for the last 3 months, 5 months. This last year, we've not seen you. And also tell us what is your view about James Orengo, critics that are happening. We have seen them since the comments that he made in burial ceremony of the god of Raila Odinga. What is your take about that? And does it mean that James Orengo is speaking on behalf of someone?
All right. Good. Is it a good morning? Okay. Good afternoon and good evening, Bonnie. Am I audible?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Well, thank you so much, of course, for this wonderful show. And I'm glad to have joined you. I don't want to get maybe into much. I've just been here and there. I've been following what is happening. And sometimes, you also need to take a break from politics, specifically when politics becomes petty and people want to look for any political relevance in anything that somebody says, like just a question that you've asked me about James Orengo. So I have to say that so far so good. Of course, everybody is pro-government because as long as you are a Kenyan, you are under authority. So any patriotic citizen will always have to subject himself or herself to the authority at the moment. Even in Christianity, the Holy Book throughout teaches us to be obedient. And even Jesus himself taught that we need to give unto Caesar what belongs to him and give unto God what belongs to him. So we have to subject and submit to the authority, and the failure to do that is normally disobedience, which is punishable not only by the secular laws but also the religious laws. I just want to go straight to the question that you've asked about the governor of Siaya. Of course, he is my governor, James Orengo. I think you people of the media are just blowing this thing out of proportion. There is nothing to be worried about the sentiments of Orengo as far as politics is concerned. And I'll give you some reasons. Number one, the issue that is happening between Orengo is not an ODM thing. Neither is it something that should concern those people who are in Azimio or something like that. What is happening is just something to do with the Luo politics and such kind of things. Orengo is a senior politician, and among the people who are in Luo politics, I don't want to talk of ODM, even though ODM has the Luos have really been part and parcel of ODM until people find it hard to separate them from ODM. And as a matter of fact, is that ODM is not a Luo party. It is a Kenyan party, a party with representatives across the country, from the coastal borders of this country to the western border where Kenya borders Uganda, that is in Busia, to Turkana. You go to the northern eastern parts of this country, you come to the central parts in Nairobi, and you can name all those parts. So it is not a Luo party, but the love that the Luos have shown that party has made people unable to differentiate the two. And as a matter of fact, a majority of the members of ODM, according to the statistics from the political parties registrar, are coming from Busia, which I'm sure you know the people who are members there. So if you see kids like Salasia making noise that they want to kick ODM out of Western, you should remind them that the members of ODM majority are lawyers. So he's really trying to tell lawyers that he wants to kick them out of their party. So James Orengo is just speaking his mind. Of course, he's a senior politician, so he's, now that age is something that catches up with people, and it's a matter of fact that maybe Raila's active politics is soon ending. I'm not saying his politics might not end, but actively he won't be engaged in active politics. So everybody, like when your dad is not there, you and your siblings will always try to fight who is going to fit in that house or who is going to take control of the house, even when they are away. There are those kids who will not maybe just submit to the ones that the parents left the responsibility under them. A parent will always choose people based on how they understand them, but their kids will always want to fight their way, which is healthy. And I don't see anything bad with it. So it is not a matter of ODM issue. It is a matter of the Luo Nyanza politics, and it is healthy. Actually, it is their democratic right. So they need to fight so that at the end of the day, Luos will also be able to see who is the lion here, who can we send to represent us in the absence of Raila Odinga. Secondly, Orengo is a governor, and here people are. There's something called, I don't want to call it blackmail, but as a governor, there's how they feel that there's a lot of meat maybe in the national government that should also be trickled down to the county government. So as Ruto is enjoying and fattening outside here and maybe forming some strong political parties, they as governors, they also need a second term. And for them to have a second term, they need to bring as many people as possible. They need to build some political machines. And building political machines needs a lot of resources. And these resources majorly, the only business that these politicians have are always us. We're the ones who pay taxes, and these taxes are part of their business and part of their returns. So Orengo is also fighting so that this money can be trickled down to the counties. So the only thing that we may also have to fault him is that he should understand that he is an executive, and there is no way an executive can be able or can purport to be oversighting another executive. The only difference is the tire. Ruto is an executive at the national level and is an executive at the county level. So it is like a coach who is coaching. You like football and you are a football a journalist. A coach who is coaching maybe a team that is at the national league, those lower divisions, is also trying to act as a fan to a coach who is coaching the Premier League. So Orengo is an member of executive at the Siaya. So if he wants to do the role of oversight and keeping on following what the president is doing, he should resign or exchange the position with the senator, the senior orphan, Dr. Oburu Oginga. Oburu Oginga is the senator of Siaya, who should be debating in the Senate matters affecting Siaya County. Orengo is a governor, so he cannot be a governor and a senator at the same time. So he can just do something that simple. He can, I know he misses the Senate. He's a debate actually, and he can just do the simple thing. Let him go for the seat of Senate so that he can be able to discuss and debate matters of Siaya County at the Senate, or he can as well go and vie as the member of parliament of Ugenya constituency and debate matters of national interest at the National Assembly. So such matters are only addressed in those issues. And apart from that, as a governor, there's a council of governors where he sits. He should be able to take his grievances and sort it out with the national government, not in the funerals. Funerals are only platforms for people like me and you, who doesn't have some legitimate structures to air our grievances. If I feel the government is not doing anything wrong, I don't have any platform. So if my member of parliament, David Ochieng, cannot be able to represent it in parliament, then I can use a funeral in my village at least to try and make such kind of sentiments, even though it might not have an effect, but at least it is reasonable because I don't have a platform. But James Orengo have got so many platforms. He attends the meetings of the Council of Governors. That is where they can be able to meet with the representatives from the national government and air their issues. So all of that is just a matter of, I just want to call it politics or popularism, and this is populist politics. He's been a defender of the human rights, we know that. But right now, what we people need to see is things happening on the ground. And so far, so good, I can tell you. If you've taken a tour in the western part of this country, you'll find that there are things that were not happening in the last 60 years since we gained independence. But right now, we can see it. At least we are having a president who doesn't look at the region you come from. We are having a president who will always submit money for projects. If you go there, I'll get one day to come and update you on some of the things that are happening on the ground, that when we look at, we have to say that we just have to stand behind William Ruto and say, Kumi bila break. Whether the government is evil or righteous, it is up to God to decide. But for us, as long as we can be able to see the road, we don't care how many people died for that road to be there. What we care is how many people are going to survive because the roads are better. There is work that is happening and there is more to happen. Like today, the president is in China. When he comes back, we are going to see an SGR that is going to be extended to connect Kenya and Uganda. Remember the previous SGR, we borrowed a lot of money only for the SGR to be stopped at Naivasha. It was a railway to nowhere. At least we are going to see it connecting these countries, and it is going to be of economical importance than what we are having currently. So we have to give due where it belongs and say what the president is doing so far so good. If things get better and we are able to manage our loans and we give him another chance, I'm telling you, even those people who are saying Ruto must go will one day sit down and cast the days that they wasted saying Ruto must go. So thank you so much, Boniface, for talking too much.
Pro-government, Leo Nyabaya, of course, you have violated some of the key things that you have noted after the broad-based government. You think that a lot of changes, a lot of developments have taken place in your area. Of course, the constituency, you have also seen how the president is distributing resources without discrimination. But when you go to some of the parts of the northeastern part of Kenya, you will just wonder what is happening, because those areas, they are still neglected. We don't have water, we don't have infrastructures like roads, and we are having a lot of people suffering over there. So what are you saying when you say that we are having a government that is distributing resources equally? We are having a lot of changes for the last 60 years. You have seen a lot of changes in the area that you've noted after the broad-based government. But also, there are some of the
I think,
allegations
Bonnie, even before you continue, of course, it is good you've said these are just people just allege, but they are not facts. What we need to do, we need to go for what is called a fact finding procedure to know what is being said. Check, for example, these northeastern counties, and these counties not only receive equitable share from the national government, but they are also having some funds that are meant for the marginalized regions. There are some funds that they are getting that your county in Kitui or my county in Siaya or somebody's county in Kiambu is not getting, just for the sake of the marginalization. Do you know what happens? What their governors do? Their governors are just building stories here in Isili and the South Sea at the cost of those other guys. But when they went back there, their voting is normally done on a clan-based. Once an elder with some dyed beards come and tell you that we are going to vote Mohammed, we are going to vote who and who. That is it. So we have to blame those governors for their irresponsiveness. And that is what I'm telling my governor, James Orengo, that after 5 years term in office, we will hold him responsible. We will not hold him responsible for calling out on William Ruto. We will ask him. We will not tell him that we are going to elect you simply because you told William Ruto to stop abducting Kenyans. It is not the role of Governor Orengo to tell the president not to abduct Kenyans. It is the role of Governor Orengo to ensure that he uses the resources that have been sent to Siaya to benefit the lives of the people of Siaya. So the governors that we have in these places of that you talk of in Northeastern are the ones that are supposed to be blamed, and the quality of the leaders that they elect even in the parliament. They elect the leaders in the parliament who doesn't even participate in the debates, legislation, and the distribution, or maybe where the distribution of resources are being discussed. Remember, resources are not distributed at the executive, even though the executive has got some power to determine how these resources are being distributed. They can influence, but most of these debates takes place in parliament, in committees. But if you elect somebody who cannot even be proposed to a specific committee, then you expect them to come and do something back. It can't happen. So we have to blame them. And remember, there are some of the services that have been developed. So if there is no water in a county, how do we blame the national government for that? Each and every county, things like water services have been developed. and the less is being spent maybe at the national level. So each and every county have got their water and sewerage system. Each and every county has got the plan that they have for the agriculture, because agricultural activities have been developed, health activities have been developed, the ECD or the preschool education systems have been developed. So we need to call on the respective people who failed on their duties, instead of piling these blames and maybe putting it on someone else. So let the people who are responsible be held accountable. But the first people that I need to hold accountable are the electorates. They are the ones who elect idiots and send them to the county assemblies and expect maybe they give the governor an opportunity to run the county as their personal properties. And the power that these MCAs have, people have been underrating it. It is the MCAs who are passing the bills that are going to oversee how these billions and millions are spent within the county levels. But you want to elect somebody who have never even counted or cannot even write 1 million in words. So this is the person you want to go and do a budgeting in terms of billions. So that is how, if you get a smart governor who is not concerned with you, and they know they are idiots in the county assembly, they'll run it as their personal properties. So let us not blame the national government for the failure of the county governments. Each and every county gets equal amount, depending on the number of people that are there and some other factors like the marginalized places, the places that have never been developed before.
Yes, that is Leo Nyambai. Of course, he's a pro-government and is giving his own views about what is happening currently in the government. But also, we as a Freak 24, we have our own views. But Leo is giving us his own views about the current situation of the government. But also, I will be coming back with another question. But if you're joining us here for the first time, make sure you join the studio through the link. You can be part of the discussion. The link that I've shared there, it will direct you to the studio and you'll become a part of this wonderful conversation here in Freak 24. Following us, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, that is Freak 24. I can see in the comment section there we have Gipsy Corner. Leo, of course, he mentioned about President Ruto heading to China for that relationship between Kenya and China, and also to advance on the terms of economy and also to boost the relationship. But he said that Ruto once said that he will never deal with China because they helped Uhuru divert the borrowed money. That is a Gypsy Corner, because I also remember the president saying that he will make this country depend on itself. He will make Kenya not
Bonnie,
to depend on other countries.
Maybe to respond to that, I think that's a simple question that has got some clear response. I'm seeing Nyagaka Eriko talking of people being cast, and also Honorable Jagi. Honorable Jagi, you don't need to honor yourself. People should honor you. And when you're commenting, you also need to be honorable in your comments. Anyway, welcome. And here people are just sharing their views. You know, my views might not please you, but at the end of the day, I'm not here to please you. I'm not here to speak something that sounds sweet on your ears, but I'm here to speak facts the way they are. And there is nothing that should stop that. Somebody's talking of not facing China. Number one, Gypsy Corner, Mr. Goodyear, you need to understand that we normally have campaigns and we normally have now real management. In a campaign, you only become smart, or you only become a winner if you can be able to win an election. So during campaigns, what normally takes place is that people want to win elections. So in campaigns, you are allowed to use any convincing word. You people who've been in sales and marketing, you'll understand that sometimes you have to sell the product. And as you're selling the product, you'll only have to give the selling parts of the product. You only have to talk of the positive parts of the product that will enable the customer to buy the product. Even though each and every product has got some defaults, if you concentrate on the defaults, then nobody will have to buy it. So during campaigns, we need to separate the campaign sentiment and now Ruto, the president, who is now running a country. A country cannot be run on a propaganda, and a country cannot be run on enticements. When it comes to running a country, you have to be clear, and you have to be more realistic. It is true, Ruto promised that we are not going to borrow. What is the opposite of borrowing? The opposite of borrowing is, for us to fund our budget, you need to be taxed. Bonnie, you were here last year when Kenyans say that they don't want to pay more taxes. And at some point, this country almost went the way South Sudan or Sudan, countries like Somalia, and what you're seeing in DR Congo. It almost became ungoverned, and there was some chaos, and almost the country was being torn away simply because of the issue you've talked of taxation. So if you don't want to be taxed, the country has to run. You keep on talking of Kasongo, we want roads. So where do you want the roads to come from if you're not taxed and you're not borrowing? So the only option that we have is to borrow. But the only difference is there is that stupid borrowing whereby you borrow money to buy mandazi, but there's somebody who borrows money to buy ungangano, and you prepare your mandazi and sell and get some money. So what the president is currently doing is we borrow money that we can be able to account for. We don't just borrow money like people borrowed some Eurobond and nobody accounted for the Eurobond. If you're asked what Eurobond did, you cannot also be able to say. We don't just borrow for SGR, which was inflated actually, and nobody cared. So when we borrow and this money is used properly, every country borrows and every country has got a debt. Even if you check, United States of America actually is having a lot of debt. But what we need to see is the president borrowing, and this money is used responsibly. So the questions we should be asking, Mr. President, you've borrowed 1 trillion. Can you tell us how this money was utilized? But we don't need to say that, oh, Mr. President, you borrowed 1 trillion, don't borrow again. As long as we can be able to see where this money is, then we have no problem. When it comes to international relations, there's some things there's some sentiments that maybe William Ruto was making when he was just campaigning. But once you become president, you have to maintain some good relationship with these foreign countries. So going to China facing east is a good thing. And if you look at the global international relations trend, you'll find that currently most people are facing east. And with the election of Trump, there's a lot of chaos in the West, and China is also taking advantage of that. They want to gain from it. They want to look at the poor relationship that have been introduced by Trump's regime. If they can really take advantage of it, then they are going to get some inroads in Africa. And one thing I know with China is that when they give you their loan, they will always ensure that this loan is utilized well, because they will not give you free money. So what is happening is good.
That is Leo saying that what is happening is good. Of course, we are having critics coming from right, left, from north to south, east and west after what Kenyans, they said that they were betrayed by the Kenya Kwanza government, the Hustler Nation. But now we are having other members now saying that maybe they are going to support the Kenya Kwanza government also in 2027. And this is the time that we are having also leaders coming out for 2027. It's the time that we are having massive Gen Z movement now going to get their voters cards for 2027 general election. And now we are going to expect a very totally different general elections in 2027 on who is going to be the next president of the Republic of Kenya. So Leo here is saying that after the broad-based government that was formed, Raila now joining the government, and also members also saying that the Luos, they were not always created to always stay in the opposition. Now joining the government, the likes of Johnny Badi, the likes of Opio and I now joining the government, and also top cabinet secretary, the likes of Hassan Joe. Also following closely to what Joe said in one of the interviews last week, he said that he is not always constant with the decisions. He said that only fool cannot change his stance. So he changed his stance and he joined the government, because you remember his slogan, "Kama mbaya mbaya, kama mbaya mbaya." But now he's in the government trying to say that everything is working. Leo, do you mean that in 2027 also William Ruto is going to be elected as the president of the Republic of Kenya? Of course, we have top competitors, the likes of Matiang'i, the likes of Martha Karua, and also the likes of Wanja Koya, who will be coming out for 2027. And also, we have not seen the Gen Z leader. Still, Gen Z, they have not selected their leader for 2027. So it's going to be a tough competition. Does it mean that the president will be re-elected?
Bonnie, you need to stop misleading people. I'll maybe respond to you in these ways. I hear people saying that, you see, 2027 is going to be determined by Gen Z. And this thing, Gen Z, has been, I don't know how it has been ballooned, or it has been, people have inflated it until it appears to be something huge. It appears to be something extraordinary that has never happened before. It is a cliche that by 2027 will not be there. There's something that I want to tell you. There is people sometimes when they hear of Gen Z, they think it is maybe, I don't know how they describe it, and you'll find that even somebody who is 35 years old or 37 years old, who is not even a youth, calling themselves Gen Z. The people who you say were leading those kind of demonstrations, people like Boniface Mwangi, are these commercial activists. Boniface Mwangi is in his 40s. So when you want to call him Gen Z, then that term Gen Z, which is an age group or a specific generation, loses its meaning. Because I myself am a millennial. Actually, I'm not a Gen Z, and I'm younger than the people I see parading themselves there, people like Morara Kebaso and the rest. And one thing that I want to tell you, that in each, and it is an informed assumption that Gen Zs are people who are going to collect themselves in one basket and vote to a specific candidate. It is an informed assumption that Gen Zs are just in a specific cadre or a specific corner of political ideology. You have to remember that each and every Kenyan family has got a Gen Z. These political parties that you see are having Gen Zs. In ODM, there are Gen Zs. In UDA, the one that will not defend, we are not going to have UDA in the next general election. The last party to win or contest in consecutive elections was KANU, and no party has ever done that. So we're going to have a different party. So it is also foolish to think that UDA will be there and keep on fighting UDA. That is a wasted energy. So each and every political party or political class that you see here have got a Gen Z. So the only thing is that Gen Zs have got different roles. And I want to make it clear. I know you people will doubt, but that is a fact, and you'll one day come and thank me for giving you this information. Each and every political setup has got what is called a political identity. Save for the countries like United States of America, that is an immigrant country, and whose political identity is determined by different things. When you come to Kenya, our political identity is tribe, period. Let nobody cheat you. Maybe in the near future, our political identity might competitively maybe outdone by things like religion, which I don't see happening very soon. But the rate at which Islam is growing worldwide, it might be another political identity where we might have some religious groups and such kind of thing. But as we stand, in the next 20, 30, 40 years, our identity was, and will still be tribe. So in the internet, there are Gen Zs who are calling themselves tribeless. But when they go back in the evening, we have Gen Zs who are Luos, we have Gen Zs who are Kikuyus, we have Gen Zs who are Kambas. If you look at the demonstration that was happening, there was this man called Mark Ore, who nobody knew his tribe, and he was really enjoying the tribeless thing until somebody leaked and they realized that he was a Luo. That is when the rain started beating him. So they now stopped seeing him as Mark Ore, but they started seeing him as a Kihi, as somebody have commented there. That person who is having a foreskin, who is uncut, who is not fit to lead a movement and can only be led by people who are older than him, like Boniface Mwangi. So this thing is not going to change today. We have the Gen Zs who are Luos, who listen to Raila Odinga. And that is why when Raila Odinga said that, okay, I'm not associating myself with that kind of demonstrations. And the Gen Zs who are all over the streets who listen to him never went to the streets. So come 2027, I want to speak for the Luo community because I'm a Luo. I was born in Luo, raised in Luo, and I've also raised people in Luo. We And we is a plural pronoun that can even, that means more than one. So don't ask me, or let nobody ask me who I'm speaking to. So we are not going to follow these kind of cliches of this kind of ballooning movements that have got no roots blindly. We are standing behind William Ruto, and we are joining the other communities that have been called a jeep, any government in power. As long as we can be able to get the fruits under this tree called the government, we are not leaving that shade. We will be there until the tree will be cut, then we'll move to the next tree. And I don't see the tree being cut now. The tree will be cut in 2032 when the tree will retire, when William Ruto will be retiring as a president. That is when we will chart another way. But as it stands now, we've lived. I was born when my community were opposing the government, fighting for rights of people whom they don't even know, fighting for justice, transparency, and all those kind of nonsense. And right now they'll tell you that Luo Nyanza is the least developed regions in this country. Why is it least developed? Because while others were embracing the governments in power, whether rogue or not rogue, and benefiting from the proceeds of rogue governments, evil governments, and racist governments, the Luos were busy throwing stones and sending away the government. So right now, we also want to take time and relax and embrace government, whether it is evil or not evil. It is not our business. It is God's business to decide the government is evil or not evil. So right now we want to stay there, enjoy the fruits, whether people cry, whether people laugh. So later on, after we've catched them economically, then we can now start fighting for a better government. We fought for this better government. Me, I was born when we were in opposition, fighting. We fought Moi, we fought Kibaki, we fought Uhuru. So we should not be fighting each and every time, my friend. It is time for us to relax. We have other communities. We did not run away with the stones from the streets. We did not run away with the courts. We did not run away with the barricaders that are used to barricade the roads. They can pick up from where we left and continue opposing the government. So let us also be opposed. We've been opposing. Now we want to be opposed. Boniface, as simple as that.
That is Leo Nyambaya, of course, is saying that we pronoun, of course, he's using the pronoun we, that in 2027 they are going to stand behind William Ruto. And also, the only way they will stop supporting William Ruto is the Luos. The Luos is 2032 when the term of William Ruto is going to expire. But we still have some of the top candidates who are going to vie for 2027. The likes of Matiang'i, you have also seen how when he landed at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, everyone was
I forgot about that. Right now, so far, we don't have any candidate who is going to run. Matiang'i, those are some of the, okay, they can make news for the content creators. There was one called Mohisa Kitui, Dr. Mohisa Kitui, who resigned from UN, and he really came with a bang that he was going to run against William Ruto and Raila Odinga, who are then the leading candidates. The rest is history. You know what happened. And I can tell you, Matiang'i cannot even, Matiang'i, I think, can even become, he can't even beat Wajakoya, because Wajakoya in the first case is coming with the bang smokers as his identity, and that is, at least he's coming with something in his hand. If you look at William Ruto, he's having something in his hand. So the first thing that they will ask you when you come into politics, it's not about money or whatever, and you must have an identity. People mistake politics. If you look at somebody called Barack Obama to be elected in the United States of America, he wasn't elected by youth. He wasn't elected by blacks. Barack Obama was elected by the Democrats. You see? So what identity is Matiang'i having? What have Matiang'i done politically? The fact
of
that
course,
people
when he was,
your name on
let me
the,
just give you a
I heard
glimpse of what he
people,
has done.
Matiang'i is like what people, those people who are telling Bobby Wine that he can beat Museveni, and Bobby Wine was winning some how do you call it? It was still called Twitter polls, forgetting that the Kenyans are the ones who are participating in these polls. My friend, my grandmother who is going to vote doesn't know who Matiang'i is. What he knows is that under Matiang'i, Baby Pendo was killed. Under Matiang'i, people are being killed and being thrown in River Yala. He knows that under Matiang'i, who was just a mere CS, several court orders barring him even from deporting Megona were ignored. Under Matiang'i, he publicly proved that he was so arrogant. So if William Ruto, who was not that arrogant, who used to go to church every day, even when the church services were not there, have turned to be this evil and hated, what do you think will happen with Matiang'i? You know, Ruto was a minister, and during his time as a minister, or during all that time, he always acted humble. That is a matter of the fact. But what of this arrogant Matiang'i? What do you think he will make? So those people who are fronting Matiang'i are the people from Morema who want somebody who is going to drive that narrative of Luo hater. And let me tell you, if they elect Matiang'i, actually they will cry in the first 2 months. Matiang'i comes from, he is just close to us, we'll just knock the door. We'll not even wait for a month to join his government. So if you are thinking that there's somebody who is going to, the only problem that we have in this country, those people who see are hating Ruto all of a sudden, they were not hating Ruto. They are hating Ruto because Ruto made a handshake with the people whom they believe should not be enjoying from this government. So those kind of nonsense, we've seen them. We are waiting for that 2017. We'll still be alive unless we die. And what I can tell you is that those people that you're mentioning, William Ruto is going to retire as a president. So there's no doubt. Don't worry. How he is going to make it is none of our business. He's going to retire as a president. But right now, our role is to support Ruto, to get the benefit from this government, stand with him, give him the maximum support. Whether we are going to leave or abandon him, when we are going to leave or abandon him, it is not upon us. It is upon Raila to decide and tell us that, okay, now it is enough. We can abandon him and go on our own, and he will still give us direction.
Aye. That is pro-government Leo Nyabaya saying that Matiang'i is also giving us some of the accusation about Matiang'i when he was the cabinet secretary for the interior security, and also from Matiang'i, we noted that in 2016, when he was the cabinet secretary of education, that is when we had free, fair Kenya certificate of secondary education because of what he did over there. And that was a legacy that Matiang'i did over there. And the Minister of Education, of course, they will live to remember what he did in 2017. But also, away from that, who else is going to?
You said when Matiang'i was the Minister for Education, he left a legacy. The same sentiments were said of William Ruto. I wish I could play those videos. When William Ruto was the Minister of Higher Education, that is when people started joining university directly the same year. Initially, you will have to wait for years or some time. Is it so? So, you know, these are some of the things that will not make you think. We are not looking for a cabinet secretary of education. We are not looking for a cabinet secretary of interior. We are not looking for somebody who will manage Minister of Interior and the Minister of Education at the same time. We are looking for a president. And the presidency is an elective position in Kenya. And for you to be elected, you have to be a politician. So Matiang'i can as well look for another politician to be elected, then that person can make him a cabinet secretary. He's not a politician, he's never been one, and he will not be one. And the seat of the presidency in Kenya is going to be held by a politician. So all these things, we were even told that, you see, some of the work that William Ruto did when he was the cabinet secretary of agriculture is what made Raila become jealous and fired him and such, and those short stories. The same stories are going to be said of Matiang'i. But the things that we'll remember Matiang'i with, the worst things that he did already overshadowed the good things that he might have done. Marking KCP in 1 day or 2 hours can only make sense to those people who sat for that KCSE. There are people who doesn't even know whether the KCSE still exists or does or is what is taking place. So the voters, who are the majority in this Kenya, vote based on the political identity. So those people who still sit dreaming that somebody is just coming from nowhere. You know, when these things started, these uncivilized movements, anti-government hate and such kind of things started. We've been given so far about 5 candidates. They started with the Morara. They went to, I don't know, this gentleman from Busia, my neighbor, Tata.
Okay,
From Tata, they went to Kalonzo, and now they are in Matiang'i. I don't know, after every 2 weeks, even you, if you start grooming yourself very well, they might say that, okay, wacha tutapatia Boni. So far, Ruto we know will be on the ballot. The rest wajipange na watafute agenda na wajipange vizuri, manake sisi tumejipanga.
Sisi tumejipanga, that is Leo, of course. I can see the comment section there. We have very active members, the likes of Prince Bobo. Prince Bobo, of course. We also have Sami Kibet in the comment section. It seems that unity of the nation is very important. That is Sami Kibet in the comment section. And also Prince Job is saying that Honorable Jagi Jr., the same way 2020 so mulisema ni wajinga tukajileta shida na Ruto. I support Luos. That is Prince Job saying that he support Luos. Nyangaka Eriko, even ndio mulisema kuhusu 2022, I support Luos. Charles Yagi in the comment is saying that our watu wanakula I can see in the comment section there. Continue sending them. I can also see Moses Alo. Why apologizing and yet every citizen has a freedom of expression? We also have Chikone saying that the Gen Z, I call it Gen Zote. Yani ni kufieka peana 2027. Of course, Leo, we have seen how several leaders, they are coming out when it comes to 2027. And this broad-based government has also raised concerns now since we formed the broad-based government. Some areas, you said we have equal distribution, but some areas they are being neglected. The other day we had the president saying that we don't have money for construction of roads. And also he said that the money that is there now is only limited for some areas. So when the money is there, MPs are giving them money, then they should utilize it in the right way. Leo, President alikuwa amesema he should be given that money now to work on roads. Is that the right way for president to ask for money so that he can construct roads? Is that the role of the president?
Actually, Bonnie, you know, the first thing I said, we need to separate the sentiments that are made on the rallies. Those are meant for public consumption. They are just made for politics, and you know, politics is you have to make your fans happy and such kind of things. But when it comes to construction of road, we're having a constitution, and you know very well that our roads are normally classified. We have the roads that are done by Kura, the Kenya Rural Roads Authority. We have the ones that are done by Kenha. We have the ones that are done by the county, like the access roads that you see in the markets and such kind of things. I saw a sentiment from one Professor Nyong'o, somebody I do respect, of course. And there was a road that recently brought some issues by the oil transporters in Kisumu. If you look at that road, it's really pathetic. And it is a matter of fact that most Kenyans have lost hope and they don't trust the county government. I'm not saying that all the county governments are bad, but Kenyans don't trust the county government because Kenyans are claiming, you know, the main purpose of devolution was to ensure that the resources that used to be concentrated at the national level and the president will dish them at will based on the people that he deemed were loyal to him. The county governments of devolution came to ensure that this money is trickled down so that that person who did not vote for the president, like Rosalina Auma there, can still be able to benefit from the taxes, because the taxes are collected across the country and channeled to the Kenya Revenue Authority. So when it comes to distribution of these resources, it used to be at the mercy of the president. But now that we have devolution, there are counties that can have a positive report after 10 to 15 years of devolution. But there are counties that when you go up to date, you want to be able to realize that devolution is working. You'll have to cast devolution. The only thing you'll see, the people who've been opportune to be elected in this post and their cronies or the people around them, around their circle, are the ones you'll see having some tall buildings. There's some villages, when you go, you'll find some tall buildings and such kind of things happening. But devolution is not helping people. So people believe that if this money, actually people believe that there are some services that if left to the national government, they can be able to fill it rather than giving this money to the governors. The governors keep on asking for more money. They're asking for more responsibilities, but the little responsibilities, the 40% that have been devolved and given under their responsibility, they are unable to do it. So the president asking for that, I think he cannot maybe speak of something that is not within the law. If the roads are under the national government, then the money should be collected by the national government, and the national government is the one that should be able to manage it. Something like fuel levies. So fuel levy, how will counties, if you say that the counties are going to collect the fuel levies, there's some counties that are going to be disadvantaged. And this money, who is going to account for it? If the counties cannot be able to even account for the money that they themselves collect. Take, for example, Homa Bay. The last 10 years, Homa Bay was collecting some peanuts. When Wanga went there, I don't know whether it is PR or whatever, but based on the records that we've been seeing, she's able to collect money that can sustain that county. So that one tells you how this money is collected and gets lost. So they just want to devolve corruption. So the fight that is there between the governors and the national government is just to devolve corruption. Just like what is happening with the CDF. I've been saying it time and again that CDF is illegal, despite the 5 rulings that have been made in competent courts that CDF is illegal. There is no way. If today you do away with the CDF, I'm telling you, we are going to have the best people represent us in parliament, people who know their role. The role of parliament is to legislate, oversight, and represent. But currently, we are having every Tom, Dick, and Harry in that parliament simply because they gave you bursary, simply because they manage CDF. CDF should not be managed by the MPs. Yesterday, you see some madman like Peter Salasia telling you that, he's the best MP in Western simply because he's managing CDF, I don't know, building TT what, building what. That is not the role of an MP. If this man cannot go to parliament and legislate and say that from today education is going to be free, this money will be channeled to Ministry of Education, kids will just have to carry their bags and walk to school. Why would we be giving MPs money to go and pay the same money in government schools? The CDF money is never paid, the bursary is never paid in private schools. So why would I give an MP money? Yeah. Why would you give people money to go and pay again, to go and pay you? Why can't the government just channel this money direct to the schools? So this thing called CDS is why we are having idiots. The parliament is full of comedians. So in that parliament, if you look at the parliament, I really try to wonder the kind of laws that can be made by the people like Jalango, people like Salasia. You see people like the other one from Kiambu, I've forgotten his name. There's one, I even don't know his name. It's really pathetic, actually. It's really pathetic. They don't know their roles. They go there because they can come when your sister is sick and they take her to the hospital. When your brother is dead, they buy a coffin. When you don't have school fees, I saw Boni Alwale the other day parading some young men, akiwahesabia pesa. That is what they do. So this CDF is illegal. But why are they fighting it? If this thing is not helping them, then they could have let it go a long time ago. Why are they clinging on it despite the 5 competent court rulings that CDF is illegal? Simply because they know this CDF benefits them more than they benefit you. Akijenga classroom moja, anajenga nyumba ya kuku pale kwake. That is the secret.
Na ndio sababu hiyo tukaamua vile vile kwamba tuunganishe taifa letu la Kenya, ndio mambo ya maendeleo yaendelee kwa kasi zaidi. in order to enhance the momentum of the development of our country, it is necessary that we harness the unity of our nation, the talents available, the energies available, the political goodwill available for us to increase the momentum of the development of our country. Competition is good because it gives us winners and losers. Unity is better because it creates a win-win formula for everybody. It creates winners without losers. Nobody loses in unity. Everybody wins. And that is why Waswahili wakasema umoja ni nguvu. Because in unity there are no losers. In unity we have winners and winners and winners. And that is why we decided, and I want to encourage us as a nation to think about not what is in it for politicians and leaders, but what is in it for the people of Kenya. Not to think about the interest of a political party or a political side or one region, but the interest of the collective population of a nation called Kenya. That is what is important, and that is what our focus is. So mimi nashukuru sana viongozi wote waliokubali tuungane, na nimesema na nitarudia, tunaunganisha taifa letu la Kenya sio kwa sababu ya kugawana vyeo ama kupanga ushindi wa siasa. Tunaungana na tunaunganisha Kenya kwa sababu ya kupanga vile transformation ya taifa letu la Kenya itaendelea kwa kasi, ndio services ifikie wananchi wengi zaidi, kilimo itembee kwa haraka zaidi, uchumi iimarike zaidi, mambo ya rollout ya universal health coverage, housing program na program zile zingine zote zitembee kwa kasi, kwa manufaa sio ya viongozi, manufaa ya wananchi milioni 50 wa taifa letu la Kenya. That is the reason why this unity, the reason why we are coming together is important. Na mimi nataka niwaulize wote ambao wanasikiza mwito huu, let us unite, let us work together, and let us focus on the interest of a nation called Kenya. Wengi, if every leader is focusing on their interest, who focuses on the interests of the people? Who focuses on the interests of the nation? That is important for us to think about. Kwa hivyo, mimi nawauliza sisi wote, tushirikiane,
viongozi wa Kenya wote, jameni, tuungane, tushirikiane. Ya muhimu sio uchaguzi wa 2027. Ya umuhimu sasa ni mpango ya transformation ya Kenya. Barabara tutakazojenga, maji tutakayofikisha kwa manyumba ya wananchi, stima tutakayofikisha kwa nyumba ya wananchi, hawa vijana tuwapange na ajira, na wale wengine wote tuhakikishe ya kwamba tuna madawa katika mahospitali yetu. Na ndio mimi nataka niwaulize viongozi, let us unite so that we can have a plan and we can prosecute the agenda for the transformation of our nation. Matters 2027 will come and the people of Kenya will decide. For now, we must focus on making sure that we deliver on the commitments that we made. And I want to promise the people of Kenya that this administration, under my leadership, is going to focus on the transformation of Kenya, making sure that our teachers are in school, our children are being taught, our farmers have the support they need. We build roads, we connect electricity, we connect water, transform our nation. That is what is important for every Kenyan, irrespective of their tribe, irrespective of the region they come from, irrespective of the religion they profess, irrespective of any other consideration. And that is why we must work together as leaders and as a nation. Na mimi nataka niwatahadharishe, upande ule mwingine ni watu hawana mpango, hawana sera, hawana ideas, hawana chochote. Ati mpango yao yote ni vile watagawanya Wakenya. Kama hawasemi mambo ya ukabila, wanasema mambo ya sijui dini. Kama hawasemi mambo ya dini, wanasema sijui nani wa kutoka Mulima, nani wa kutoka Bonde, nani wa kutoka Bara, nani wa kutoka Ziwa, nani wa kutoka wapi. Kama hawafanyi hiyo, wanasema nani yako na kazi, nani hana kazi, nani yako na payslip, nani hana payslip. Mimi nataka niwaambie hawa jamaa, if you want a semblance of a competition, look for an agenda. Leave division. Division will not get you anywhere. And the people of Kenya are resolved to unite so that together we can transform our nation. We cannot transform our nation divided. And that is why we are united as a people of Kenya. Watu wa Mandera, munasema tuungane ama tutengane?
When? Mr. Leo Nyambaya, when? When? The question is when.
Okay, I think Ruto have really...
From what I have played
Ruto
there,
have-
those are the clips that are related. So when? When? We are now approaching the 2026. Then we get to 2027. When?
Mister, you know very well that, governments are not personal property and things don't just happen. You can't just wake up and say, let there be roads. It is only God who did that one during creation. And if God also did not just create everything in a single day, it took him 6 days and had to rest on the 7th day. So that tells you how work is so tiresome. And God will wake up and say, you see, let there be road, let there be light. So Ruto cannot just wake up and say, oh, let there be lights, electricity. It is not that he's holding on these things that he can just say, okay, electricity, bara. Things go with a process and a plan. And you have also to know that even the plan that Ruto had for the country, I don't think he've even started implementing it, because the governments are working on a plan, just like an organization. If you are CEO today and they fire you, it does not mean that the CEO who is coming next is coming to turn things upside down. There's what is called a strategic plan for each and every progressive organization that has to be followed. So in each and every country, we have a plan. So the only thing is that there are some plans that needs what is called goodwill. Maybe currently Kenya is working under the Vision 2030. I think we have 5 years to that vision. And by 2030, the dream that Mwai Kibaki, Raila Odinga, Nyong'o, Paranya, and those who are in the NAC or the Rainbow government had should have been achieved. So whatever you see these guys implementing right now are not even their plans. Their plans will be implemented by those Gen Zs in their time, when their time will finally come. What William Ruto is implementing, they're having 5 years, then they will have to check on Vision 2030. What did they achieve and what did they not achieve? So such are the things that normally the governments have to align with, such visions. We're also having some global visions, the SDGs, and we also having, Africa is also having their Vision 2060 and such kind of things. So as you are planning and even borrowing this money, you have to align them with the existing visions. So if you see like the SGR that now they've gone to China to look for money, this is something that was there in the plan. But somebody somewhere, instead of kufikisha SGR money ifike, decided to misuse the money, and the SGR could not reach. So that goodwill is what now needs to be initiated. The president has just been there for 3 years, and these years have not been good on him because of politics. The budget being rejected in totality. So I think you know that even the bill, the finance bill and such kind of things, they also had some effect, of course, because there's some things that were planned but could not be actualized because that money is not there. They budgeted for it. You people rejected those taxes. So how are they going to raise this money? They have to go back to the drawing board. We had an election immediately. As politics, sometimes we just make politics, but when it comes to reality, I do say that it was good Raila did not take this government. He would have gone into record as maybe the worst president, not because he is worse, but because the economic situation that we had at a time that we are going to elections in 2022. Remember, we don't also want to blame William Ruto. From 2019, the entire world was battling COVID. And this one really had an effect as far as raising funds and the businesses are concerned. So we went to an election, one of the most expensive elections in Africa, at a time when the country was broke, not because Uhuru stole. I don't want to be that naive, but we were still recovering from the effects of COVID. And now we are having a government that is having an expensive budget, and this budget has to be financed. If you listen to one Opio, no, not Opio and I, but John Mbadi, you'll realize that there's something that we now need to stop looking at things with the political lenses and now put the factual lenses. You know, when Mbadi was a member of ODM and leader of a minority, he had that political lens, and they will say Ruto must go and such kind of things. But when now he was put in the seat of reality, he realized that, okay, actually we would needed these taxes. And he tells you that by past 2030, we'll be done with the loans and such kind of things. So these are realities that we have. So the president, I think, is having goodwill, and I've also heard him talking of this thing of called unity and kukuja pamoja. And I want to say that William Ruto is sincere on this. He is not doing it for political purposes, maybe that you want those people who supported Raila to support him, or you want to eliminate Raila from active politics. If you listen to him during the BBI, when he was heckled at Bomas, he raised the very question that he's raising currently about the winner takes it all. He asked, what happens? We've gone to election. I have 7 million votes. Somebody's having 6.8, a difference of 200. So what happens to the rest of the people? You know, these guys are also having feeling. What happens to the rest? So that is why it was a good idea to have this thing called broad-based. And as a matter of fact, it is just politicians that play with our minds. Boniface, nobody's in opposition. The kind of governance system that we have in this country, the parliamentary system that we have doesn't have something called opposition. We have minority and majority. You can be a member of ODM and there is a conversation in parliament that you take a minority view. That one, by that time, will be a minority, and the majority will have their day. So in that parliament, that is why we have the minority leader and the majority leader with equal responsibilities and even the benefits that they get. There is nobody who should come and lie to you that you see we are not in government. The government is having 3 arms: the executive, the judiciary, and the legislature. Like people like John Mbadi, they just changed the arms. It's like you change from becoming a goalkeeper and you become a striker. That one doesn't mean you've joined a different team. You are all playing in the same team. So they just changed from becoming legislatures and they went to the executive arm. That member of parliament who tells you they are not in government and is driving a car number plated government of Kenya, having an office with the national courts of arms, those guys are lying to you. They are all in government. Members of parliament have got equal responsibility legislating. There is no member of parliament who is elected to go and oppose the president or to go and oppose the policies. So you cannot tell me that because you are a member of parliament elected in ODM, if you go there, the president say, we want to build a super highway. So you say, me, I'm in opposition, I'm opposing that. That is stupidity. All the members of parliament, the senators, have got equal responsibility. I did not elect my member of parliament, Karauri in Kasarani, to go and oppose the government. I elected him to go and represent me, legislate and make laws that are going to benefit and transform my life, and to go and oversight the executive. So this idea that, oh, you know, these people have joined UDA, they've joined government. These MPs were MPs and they'll still remain MP. Who told you that those MPs from Wiper were elected to go and oppose the bills in parliament, or they are the only ones who are supposed to be oversighting the president. The role that Edwin Sifuna has is similar to the role that Aaron Cheriot has. They both have equal roles of oversighting and legislating. So this kind of nonsense should stop. And the president really spoke well, and I think he means well for this country based on what has been happening. You know, you cannot please anybody, and no government is always popular. Tell me of any government that is popular. Even God's government was not popular. That is why people like Satan and the Lucifers had those stories that we normally hear. So no government is always popular. And when you see the government getting popular, then you need to check on your mental status.
Leo Nyamai said that if the government is popular, then we need to check on mental status. Of course, this is a political discussion here in Africa 24, political discussion that happens here every day, 10 p.m. East African time. We are having a lot of comments in the comment section, the likes of Gipsy Corner. We also have Awesome in the comment section, Jack Mutiso. I've also seen Gipsy Corner. I've also seen Jared Onchiri in the comment section. They are actively sending their messages. Of course, they are joining this beautiful conversation here at Africa 24. Make sure, most important, you subscribe to Africa 24. Africa 24. Subscribe to Africa 24, and we will appreciate for that. If you're watching us in the Facebook, make sure you subscribe to Africa 24 YouTube. That is where you're going to get updated news, and also here every 10 p.m. you'll get notification for the show. And also through the link, you can join the studio and form part of the conversation here as we discuss on Orengo's issue, and also the current situation of the government after the critics that are coming out after the in course failure of the government to deliver the manifesto. Of course, we have also heard on what is happening in the political forum. It's like now there is some of leaders, of course, friends of William Ruto, are saying that it's that time now, after what the Trans Nzoia, of course, a governor has been saying. We have the Wasnik issue. You also have the Trans Nzoia governor, what he has been saying, that the government has failed. The government is not delivering. He's also criticizing the Luya Nation, of course, the Prime Cabinet Secretary and the Speaker of the National Assembly. That is Natembeya. There's also some of the allegations that Natembeya, there are some of leaders saying that he should be impeached for what he has been saying, for what he has been forcing about the Luya Nation. Did you believe also, as one of the pro-government, do you believe that this is right, coming out from the close friends of William Ruto, that Governor Tembe should be impeached from what he has been making? Of course, we saw what happened during Chebukati burial.
I think those people are just maybe there's some insanity in this country. You know, Kenya people are so stressed to an extent that people just speak. This kind, I even heard someone saying that James Orengo should be impeached. You know, the impeachment of the deputy president is different from the impeachment, this kind of things that they're trying to tell us. Natembeya is the governor of Trans Nzoia. He's not the governor of Kenya. So he was elected by the people of Trans Nzoia. He speaks for them, represents their interest. It is different from Gachagua, who was the deputy president of Kenya. So Gachagua was expected to speak for all Kenyans, all the tribes, all the communities. So it met the ethnic threshold, or maybe the tribal threshold, when he kept on talking of Mount Kenya, Mount Kenya, Mount Kenya, as if he was representing a specific part of Kenya. If James Orengo speaks of the Luos, he's a governor of the Luo County, a county that 98 or maybe 90% are Luos. In the same way, you want to tell me that if you go to Busia, you will say that they're so tribal because most of the people, you find that 90% of the workers in the Busia County are lawyers. No, it is not tribal. That is the ethnic majority in that county. You can't expect the same to happen in Nairobi. Nairobi is metropolitan. You can't expect to find one ethnic community employed in the Nairobi County, but you need to expect that one in counties that are in rural or in ethnic regions like Siaya, uh, Bungoma, or maybe Busia. So when Natembeya talks of the people of the lawyers, he is a governor in a Luya ethnic county, so he is within his right to speak. He will not start speaking of the Kikuyus, who are not the people he is representing. But it is ethnic of a deputy president of the Republic of Kenya to speak of Luos or to speak of Merus when he is representing the entire country. But it is not maybe tribal for a Masai governor even to use Masai. And at some extent in these county assemblies, I think they should always be allowed to use their native language during the proceedings, so that most of them can be able to execute their duties well. You've heard some of them struggling to speak in English or in Swahili, and this one at some time impairs their debates because they have the idea, they know some of the issues that they need to bring before the assembly, but they cannot be able to express it in a foreign language. So I think we should also be allowing them to use the ethnic language. As far as you go to some county assemblies, 100% are from one ethnic group, which is right because that is the majority of the voters and such kind of things. So Natembeya is within his right, and even James Orengo. The only thing we fault them that they are they're members of the respective executives in the lower tiers, and such kind of roles is assured that the senators who should be representing their views have failed them. So they can improve on the competency by vying for this legislative post and leave those executive posts. Orengo should, instead of vying to become a governor, vie to become a senator because he can perform well as a legislator. He can perform well as a representative. He can perform well as an oversight officer than when you're now making a governor to oversight himself. So that's the problem that we normally have. We elect people in different roles. We elect somebody who can manage an ungovernmental organization to become a member of parliament when we know the role of an MP is to legislate. That is what even derives their name. So these guys, the impeach, those are stories for people. Those are just busybodies. They should get some things to do. Is that the only thing is the people of Trans Nzoia, the people of Siaya should tell their governors that, look, you people are not legislatures. You don't represent us at the national level. Once you decided to become a governor, you've enclosed yourself to the specific county that you are an executive, you are a CEO in that county. So they should speak through their senators, and that is why we expect Edwin Sifuna to oversight and make noise not only at the president but also at the governor of Nairobi. But what beats logic is that he's too much on President William Ruto, while Nairobi, even the sewer lines and the culverts are blocking, but he will never even write a memo to Johnson Sakaja. So that is where he draws the line. And he only finds it fit to lecture, is it the president when he goes to Luo Nyanza, but when the president visits his backyard back in Western, he is always nowhere. He doesn't find time in his diary to go and lecture the president in Western. So politically, we also have to read beyond what somebody is saying.
Yes, politically, hey, Leo, of course, today he came with a lot of information here in Africa 24, a political discussion, and is injecting when it comes to the politics of this country, and also trying to analyze on what is happening in the current situation of the government and also different parts politically. So joining us here for the first time in the comment section, we appreciate for those who are that you are sending over there, those who are sending messages over there. The discussion is getting to the right direction. Of course, we are also seeing members also sending their messages. Someone is saying that Honorable Jaggi Jr., this is your skunk that you brought to Kenya. You eat the soup as the Luos watch. That is Oriwo Bob. in the comment section there, sending one of the comments there, and also everyone, I can see Awesome in the comment section. Fred, I can see you. I can see Awesome Gipsy Corner. I can also see you. Of course, coming to the end of this sweet conversation, Mr. Leo Nyambai, of course, we have had 1 hour 30 minutes as we come to the end of the show. You are parting shots.
Thank you, Boniface. The show was great, and I think I will always try to create time so that I can be able to join. This is a platform where we get an opportunity to not only air our political views, but also to try and maybe enlighten our viewers on some of the things that they are never told. I remember there is an American who once said that, you see, the media is either lazy or evil or both. So we've seen a lot of laziness and or evilness in our mainstream media. Media can decide to be lazy, they can decide to be evil, or they can decide to be both lazy and evil. And most of the reportings that are hitting our headlines are reportings that are negative. They don't report on positive things. Boniface, I've never seen you reporting on some of the progress that is going in our stadiums that are being built. Of course, the Talanta Sports Center, which will be one of the greatest, one of the historic stadium that we'll have in Kenya. And I know the reason is simple. In Kenya, we currently have two stadiums, main stadiums, Nyayo and Kasarani, and they were built by Moi. After Moi, we had Kibaki, we had Uhuru, who never even thought of such kind of things. So that might be a reason why you people are not telling us, but you'll only be telling us of some
I don't count the heads, of course,
that we
the
can.
because
No,
the heads
at the speed. No, the speed at which that stadium is being done, Bonnie, tells you that we are having a working government, a government that is responsible, a government that does not just
I have
talk.
been to
And
there last week.
it made me think when William used to tell us that tutakuwa na stadium tisa, and we failed to have them. But now we are having stadium. So I can now think of where the problem is. William Ruto had this idea, but he did not have the power. So I know who I'll now have to blame. So otherwise, my parting shot is that let us be positive Kenyans, of course. Let us shun negative hatred against the government. We can only have one government at a time. And the government exists for all of us. And youths, we are the majority actually in the world demography. And we can always influence the kind of governance that we want. And this one cannot happen if we portray ourselves as people who are violent, who are vengeful, hateful, and negative. This one can only happen through cooperation. So let us cooperate with this Kenya Kwanza government. We can get platforms where we can share ideas, things like training. Remember when the president talked of the German issue, we took it as a joke. And can give you an example. Tom Mboya Labour College registered about 1,100 students for the German language. And out of 1,100, 700 and something passed the exam. 340 failed. Not that failed, did not meet the pass mark. But do you know what standard picked? They picked on the 300 that failed and never mentioned anything about the 700 that passed. That is the media that we have. So I'm really grateful that we have such kind of panels that can allow us to shed light and tell people what is truly happening out there. So let us embrace this government. Let us embrace patriotism and also be patient, knowing that the good things are there, the good things are coming, and it only comes for those people who wait for them. So we can change the political dimensions in Kenya, and we cannot change politics on the streets or when we are away. For us to change, we have to join. So let these youths join these existing political parties, as many as possible, so that they can change it within. I like it when I see Kasmuel Marco Ore joining ODM. And I would like to see him challenging Sifuna, telling Sifuna that now you are old, you've served 8 years. Now ni wakati yetu kama vijana. But going on the streets you cannot be a politician on the street. Streets are not for politicians. Join political parties and challenge these leaders within these parties, overtake them within these parties. That is when we'll know we are serious. But let us not be used by these commercial activists so that we can we taint the name of our country. To an extent, some people compare Kenya to Burkina Faso. Somebody is telling you that Traore bought 10 tractors. In Kenya, individuals are buying tractors. You want to compare Kenya to a country whereby they depend on the government to buy for them tractors to dig. In Kenya, a tractor is something that we've been economically empowered to an extent that we can buy tractors on our own. You want to compare the president who is elected by millions of people to somebody who've never even won an election, Traore, somebody who is a proceed of coup. And coups cannot happen in countries like Kenya. Kenya is a country that underwent through some disciplined processes that we will never have a coup. Maybe Jesus will come before the coup. Coup is not going to happen soon. And the people, kids like Traore in that age can never find their way near the military leadership in Kenya. Military leadership is being run by people who are not only mature, but they are people who are patriotic and know what peace is in Kenya. So with all those many remarks, I wish you people good night and good morning for the ones who are waking. Awesome, I'm happy to see you. I'll always try to be here. I think I currently, from today, I'm having some time, so I'll ensure that I make it daily so that we can have this kind of transformative engagements. Gypsy Corner, good year. Great to see you once again. And Roy Vincent Odhiambo is saying that don't look for talking of propaganda. Roy, there's no propaganda here. What is happening is that we, Jokanyanam, we are not leaving this government anytime soon. It is our business currently to support the government. And whether we leave it, I'm not saying that we are not leaving it. We might leave it, but that one is none of my business or none of our business. Our business is to embrace William Ruto. It is now Raila's business to tell us whether to leave him or to continue. Thank you so much, Bonnie.
Awesome, of course. Thank you so much, Leo, for today's discussion. You have joined us, and we appreciate Afrique 24. In the comment section, we appreciate those who have been sending messages. The likes of Gypsy Corner and everyone else are awesome. Those who have made this conversation to be meaningful since we started it for the last 1 hour, 40 minutes ago. We meet here same time tomorrow as we discuss more in Afrique 24. Make sure you subscribe to Afrique 24. Of course, we request that from your hand. If you're following us from other channels, Afrique 24, you subscribe and we will appreciate for that. Gypsy Corner, nimekuona, you are my good friend and you will go to heaven. Yes, awesome bado kutoka last year, nimengoja, jaiona message yake. But anyway, we appreciate for that coming here for the discussion. Then it makes Afrique 24 family a big family and one of the best media houses here, which is making sure that you get the best news any day, anytime. See you same place, same time in Afrique 24.